Hey guys, the Bow here from 2 Shots 1 Kill, and I've just recently got myself a new Tokyo Marine VSR-10, and one of the things I want to do is to do my left-hand modification to this rifle as well. Now, some of you might remember back in 2006-2007, I originally wrote the original guide on converting your VSR-10 into a left-hand sniper rifle. I want to do a video of it doing the conversion because the guide that I did write back in 2006-2007 is a little old now, and it just needs a bit of updating, new graphics, sort of new images, that kind of stuff. Now, one of the biggest concerns or the questions, so we get is why bother converting your VSR or sniper rifle, for that matter, into a left-handed version? Everyone always says just learn to shoot right-handed, like as if you could just learn to shoot right-handed. I mean, shooting right-handed isn't a problem. That for the majority of people, I'm probably not going to be one here that says this, but shooting right-handed, cocking the rifle, easy as pie, right? The problem is it's focusing. I can't focus myself personally with my right eye down the scope. I just cannot do it. I sometimes have to look with my left eye, I can do it, but the right eye cannot focus. With the left side, however, relatively, or really easy should I say, to focus down the scope with my left eye. Now obviously, when you're looking down the scope, much easier to do with your left eye than I can with the right. But we do lose the ability to cock our rifle as easy as a right-handed player does. So obviously, right-handed, you can support the rifle, you can cock each shot, pull the trigger, cock each shot, pull the trigger, no problems. Left-handed, you've basically got to reach over your rifle. That's one way of doing it. So if you're supporting the rifle with your right hand, you're looking down the scope, you've got to twist the rifle to the side, reach over, head out of the way, then pull back, cock, make sure you don't punch yourself in the mouth, and then get your eyes back into position. So from the front, if you're camoed up, you've got your ghillie suit on or whatever, you're trying to keep minimal sort of profile, minimal sort of movement, you're lying down looking at someone, twist the rifle, come out, cock it, put it back, get back into position. That's quite a lot of movement, considering the fact when you're right-handed, you can literally just keep everything streamlined like that. Much less movement, much harder to spot. And obviously with Airsoft, the sort of distance that we play at, you know, the less movement you do, the better. So, other options that people say is to cock the rifle with your right hand. So obviously imagine that you've got the rifle up like this, you've then got to cock it. Now obviously straight away, you've got the weight at the front of the rifle. Now I've actually got a ball barrel on this, so it adds a bit of weight. I know the stock VSR is quite light, but you bring back your hand here, you're going to lose. You've actually got to move your thumb because your finger does get trapped, your thumb does get trapped by the bolt. So you've got to move your hand anyway, so you're not actually supporting it properly to then cock the rifle and load it. So again, it's not ideal. It's okay if you've got it supported maybe on a log or on a window or something like that. You can then cock the rifle relatively easy with your right hand and fire without losing sort of like looking down the sight. But to be honest, it's easier just convert this bad boy left-handed and not have to worry about any of that. Minimum profile, nice easy cocking on the left-hand side. So this video, what we're going to do is turn this into a left-handed VSR-10. Now if you've seen my other guide, you'll know that there's 3 parts that we've got to modify, and the first obviously is the bolt handle. At the moment the bolt handle operate on the right hand side. We need to flip this bolt handle over, basically turn it around, and then that will then fit on the left hand side, and we need to modify the rear receiver of the rifle, and then finally we need to cut a little notch out of the stock as well. Now if you're using the VSR-10 Pro Sniper version, it's not got the best bolt handle, I'll be honest. The bolt handle is pretty horrible, I don't like it. Second best is the G-Spec style bolt handle. That's not too bad when you're cocking it from the left hand side, but the best bolt handle has to be probably the PSS-10 Laylax bolt handle. That is great, and with that you can get away without even modifying your stock, so that is a good option if you want to keep your stock, not have to worry about cutting anything out. But yeah, just if you've got the PSS-10 bolt handle, you can get away with that because it can actually overhangs over the side of the stock. Tools that you're going to need, you have the option of using some epoxy, sort of putty, clay, to fill in the old side of the stock where your bolt handle used to go down on. You need a Dremel or a rotary tool, such as one of these. You need obviously the cutting edge and a sanding edge on the end as well. And that's about it really. You just need, just basically we're going to be cutting it up and just flipping stuff around. So let's get on with it. Okay, so I'm going to start with looking at the rear receiver and the bolt handle and just show you how it works and what we're going to do, just so you fully understand why we're doing it. So at the moment, obviously, we've got our bolt handle here and the rear receiver here. And obviously what would happen is the bolt goes up, hits that block at the end there, and slides out, goes back in, and cocks back down. Now if we look at the bolt handle itself, if we pull that out, we can see that we've got the bolt handle here stops, and then there's a little bit more of the rest of the bolt handle part, should we say, that slides into the receiver. Now when we flip that around and we put the bolt handle on the other way around, we can see the bolt handle is flush with the end here, so this bolt handle will then butt up against that, which means that your cylinder and cylinder head is not going into into the end of the rifle or into your hop unit by about 5mm. So what we need to do is when we flip this around and cut this piece here, we're actually going to cut this bit out here and make this flush pretty much with the the drop down bit here. But you'll see that in a minute when we go and actually start cutting up and modifying that. So that's the key thing to note, is basically that when we cut the rear receiver, we're going to cut it, we're not just going to cut along the line here, we're going to cut back and then cut down, so that when we flip the bolt handle, that goes into the receiver, thus your cylinder head goes into the hop unit correctly. So with the bolt handle and the rear of the bolt handle here, we can see that we've got a notch on the edge that fits into this bit here, so when you turn and rotate it, it only goes so far. Now with the left hand mod, obviously you're going to have full range of motion, because there's going to be nothing stopping that bolt handle from going up and down. Now what you can do is countersunk some holes on this side, just so that this, the springy bit here has something to sort of lock into, but obviously it won't stop it from fully rotating, it'll just give it that sort of like pinged lock-in, sort of like the feeling, shall we say, when you rotate the bolt handle, like it does when it's round this way, around the normal way. Now another thing to note is that the safety mechanism here, this is, so if you've got a stock trigger unit, your safety little bit that sticks up on the side, I'll put a photo of that onto the video now, that won't work, so you'll need to take that bit out of the trigger unit. Obviously if you're running a zero trigger, you haven't got that part, so you don't need to worry. So what we're going to do is we're basically going to we're going to shave off this notch on this bolt handle, and that's pretty much going to be the bolt handle done straight away. We're now going to get started. Obviously I've got my Dremel here with my little disc cutter on the end. One thing I always remember to say, don't forget safety glasses, because we're cutting metal, there's going to be chances of like crap spreading up and maybe hitting you in the eye. So what we're going to do, like I said, is we're going to basically trim that off there. So it's going to basically cut this notch off and make it flush. Alright, so we can see now that we've basically taken that lip off. Just need to sand that back a little bit. I'm just going to change the Dremel head tool just to file that down so it's smooth with that, and then that piece will be done. Okay, so this is definitely done now. We've filed that down so that's perfectly smooth. That's ready to go. We can now go ahead and put the bolt handle back onto the rear of the bolt. So we can just basically put that on. That's done. And we can now see that we've got our bolt on the left hand side. Now if you leave the spring and the grub screw in, like I say, it's going to give it some resistance, so it's not just going to rotate around like easily. And like I said, you can countersink a couple of screw or a couple of positions in that bolt handle, so it'll lock down into that down position and then lock into the up position. So next step is obviously cutting this piece here, and like I said, we're going to cut out this large chunk on the side. We've got to cut down here, roughly in the middle, and then bring that down around here. So when the bolt handle goes in, it goes in by the required distance, because at the moment we're about 5mm, not deep enough. You see we've got that back piece here, it needs to go down as well. So I'm actually going to start by cutting a chunk out, and I'm going to basically cut the chunk out from level with the top of this bit here, back, and then level with the actual front piece here, bring that round, and then I'll cut back in stage by stage, bit by bit, in just a minute. Okay, so now I've got this first chunk cut out. I'm then going to cut back here in the middle to the edge, and then follow that down back in line here as well. And then once that's in place, we can then work out how much we want to cut out of this depending on how much we want the bolt to go down. Okay, so now we've cut this bit here, we can see that we've got our notch taken out roughly at the centre line just over, and then we've brought that down to the edge here. And now when we slide our bolt handle and bolt into the receiver, we can see that that will go in far enough so that the cylinder head here goes into the actual hop unit. That extra few millimeters that we cut out here basically makes up for this part of the bolt handle. Sorry, hiccup. So now all we need to do is decide how much of the receiver, let me just try and get this angled right. So how much of this receiver we want to cut away for the bolt handle to go down. So at the moment it's pretty much a 90-degree thing. We could probably just do it, you could use it as a straight bolt pull basically, no problem. But if you want to have that angled down, you can. Just so you can see, straight bolt pull would look like that. Actually, just made a decision. Actually, I'm going to use it as a straight bolt pull. I've got a game this weekend, so I'm going to stop the modification here today, and I'm going to trial it with the straight bolt pull, just to see how I like it, rather than having to actually cut any more of the stock or the receiver. So yeah, that actually looks pretty alright. The only thing I don't like about straight bolt pull is obviously the fact that the bolt sticks out right to the side. I actually like the bolt angled down, but hey, we'll give it a go, see what it plays like this Sunday, and I'll report back, and if need be, I'll continue with the modification. I just had a quick play with it, and automatically it just feels way better. Like say, actually being able to shoulder the rifle, look down the scope, cock it, and pull the trigger like with pretty much no effort. So yeah, like I said, I'm going to try out this Sunday, let you know how it goes with the straight bolt pull, and I'm going to make a decision after that whether or not I'm actually even going to bother making it so that the bolt locks down in place like the right-handed version does. So you can literally just cock, bang, cock, bang, cock and bang, cock and bang. What more do you need?